exhibitionistic poem. I will seize my bed around the middle, and I will shake it with all my dreams. Red-headed women can jump rope while making eyes at me like thought. Nothing will stop me. I will bury the window, the crowns of convolvulus and mirabulus. Then I'll wander aimlessly while arranging precious agricultural machines on wallpaper. The silence that is already adventure will again be the clothes I've left behind, lapels plastered down, the morning glory that curls up. Only one stamp in two will be canceled on the letter I don't wish to read, putting off until tomorrow the acquittal of the last criminal. The andirons in their box, the dogs baying at the moon on the casket of exhibitionism. I will enter the scheme of night. I will resign myself to this scheme. I will watch myself being portioned into a waiting game. No more angles, no more of those sinister machicolations discovered when we tried to eat the bread. Women scrupulously torn apart, women set with men who shine while loving them, and who respond by that dry flowering of agaves. In warm countries, in burning countries, in tepid countries, since everything grows cold anyway, even lava, even memories, even the great cinder boxes where strawberries fade away. I will find my name written on the blazing atrocity, the sheaves of my name lying at the feet of hazelnut trees, the fires of my name already lying awake in scandalous forget-me-nots, the Niagaras of my name struck by the haughty expectation of worlds that huddle onto themselves in the porcupine quills of my name, when it is spoken in the round, in a murmur, as if I were still loved, as if I had ever been loved. The closing of that poem is just so emotional and full of passion. The mollusk. The mollusk is a being, almost a quality. It has no need for a framework, but only a rampart, something like paint in a tube. Here, nature forgoes a display of protoplasm in good form. Yet it demonstrates its affection by painstakingly sheltering the thing in a jewel case, whose interface is the more beautiful. So it is not merely a glob of spit, but a most precious reality. The mollusk is endowed with powerful energy to close itself in. To tell the truth, it is simply a muscle, a hinge, a door latch, and its door. A latch that secreted the door. Two slightly concave doors constitute its entire abode. First and last abode. It resides there till after its death. There's no way to get it out alive. Every last cell in a human body clings in the same way and with the same vigor to words, reciprocally. But at times some other creature comes along and violates this sepulcher when it's well made and settles there in place of its late builder. Take the hermit crab, for instance. I just love and adore the closing to that poem. It seems so much like it's setting up a further example that the poem is going to continue. It's such a wonderful way to close a poem, such an unexpected way. Take the hermit crab, for instance. And this also typifies the almost informal quality of these poems, while they maintain quite a formal quality to them. Formal in the sense that they're observing in really specific detail. And I love the tension and complexity that those discourses, different discourses within a single poem, provide. I think of all the French surrealists, Robert Desnos probably expressed the heart qualities more than any other of the French surrealist poets, certainly of that period. One of the great gifts that he gave to the surrealist movement, and I believe to world poetry, was his deep involvement in conjuring and evocation of the possibilities of life through expression of the word. This final poem that I'm going to read in this episode this evening is one of his more famous poems, and certainly my favorite of his poems, The Voice of Robert Desnos. It's a poem of deep invocation. You know that moment where many poets are obsessed with this whole idea that if you say it just right, it'll happen. The magic of words. We go back to, I'm thinking about Ernst Cassirer and his great book, Myth and Language, that in our more primordial selves, in our primordial sense of what it means to be a human, and those roots that great poets draw upon, what it means to be a poet, if we say it just right, we can affect material circumstances. And I feel and sense a thread of that in this thread, not threat, a thread of that in this poem, The Voice of Robert Desnos. The Voice of Robert Desnos. So, like a flower and a current of air, the flow of water, fleeting shadows, the smile glimpsed at midnight this excellent evening, so like every joy and every sadness. It's the midnight past lifting its naked body above belfries and poplars. I call to me those lost in the fields, old skeletons, young oaks cut down, scraps of cloth rotting on the ground, and linen drying in farm country. I call tornadoes and hurricanes, storms, typhoons, cyclones, tidal waves, earthquakes. I call the smoke of volcanoes and the smoke of cigarettes, the rings of smoke from expensive cigars. I call lovers and loved ones. I call the living and the dead. I call gravediggers. I call assassins. I call hangmen, pilots, bricklayers, architects, assassins. I call the flesh. I call the one I love. I call the one I love. I call the one I love. The jubilant midnight unfolds its satin wings and perches on my bed. The belfries and the poplars bend to my wish. The former collapse, the latter bow down. Those lost in the fields are found in finding me. The old skeletons are revived by my voice. The young oaks cut down are covered with foliage. The scraps of cloth rotting on the ground and in the earth snap to at the sound of my voice like a flag of rebellion. The linen drying in farm country clothes adorable women whom I do not adore, who come to me obeying my voice, adoring tornadoes revolve in my mouth, hurricanes, if it is possible, redden my lips, storms roar at my feet, typhoons, if it is possible, ruffle me. I get drunken kisses from the cyclones. The tidal waves come to die at my feet. The earthquakes do not shake me, but fade completely at my command. The smoke of volcanoes clothes me with its vapors, and the smoke of cigarettes perfumes me, and the rings of cigar smoke crown me. Loves and loves so long hunted find refuge in me. Lovers listen to my voice. The living and the dead yield to me and salute me, the former coldly, the latter warmly. The grave diggers abandon the hardly dug graves and declare that I alone may command their nightly work. The assassins greet me. The hangmen invoke the revolution. Invoke my voice. Invoke my name. The pilots are guided by my eyes. The bricklayers are dizzied, listening to me. The architects leave for the desert. The assassins bless me. Flesh trembles when I call. The one I love is not listening. The one I love does not hear. The one I love does not answer. This poem is dated December 14th, 1926. Again, it's entitled The Voice of Robert Desnos.